I kept complimenting the wallpaper while the paramedics worked on my mother in the next room. I've always had this thing where I fixate on random details during emergencies. When my sister broke her arm at 12, I spent the entire ER visit counting ceiling tiles. 847 of them. When our house caught fire, I noticed the mailman was 8 minutes late that day and kept mentioning it while firefighters pulled furniture onto the lawn. My family calls it my detachment problem. Everyone else calls me a sociopath. 3 therapists tried fixing me. One said it was avoidance, another called it dissociation. The third told my mom I might just be fundamentally broken and suggested I see a neurologist instead. That was after I spent our entire session analyzing the texture of her office carpet while she tried to discuss my childhood trauma. The worst part? I can't control it. When my ex-boyfriend's mom had a heart attack at his birthday dinner, I kept pointing out that the restaurant had mismatched floor tiles in 3 separate sections. He was sobbing, holding his unconscious mother, and I was on my hands and knees examining grout patterns. He called me a monster and left me at the hospital. Haven't heard from him in 2 years. My job fired me after I attended a workplace shooting. While everyone else was hiding and crying, I noticed the gunman was wearing 2 different shoes. I mentioned it to the police during my statement, and my coworkers reported me to HR for inappropriate behavior during a traumatic event. The therapist they made me see before termination said I lacked basic human empathy. My sister stopped inviting me to family events after her wedding. During the ceremony, her husband's grandfather had a stroke at the altar. I spent the entire ambulance ride to the hospital talking about how the church's stained glass windows were installed incorrectly, with visible air gaps that would cause heat loss. She screamed at me in the parking lot that I cared more about buildings than people, that I was incapable of love, that something was genuinely wrong with my brain. Mom was the only one who still defended me. She'd say I just processed things differently, that my brain went into observation mode under stress, that it didn't mean I didn't care, but I could see it wearing on her too. The disappointment every time I'd mention something irrelevant while she needed emotional support. Last Tuesday, everything changed. Mom had called me that morning asking if I could stop by after work. Her voice sounded off, kind of slurred, but she said she was just tired. When I got there at 6 p.m., I found her collapsed on her kitchen floor, unconscious. I called 911 immediately. While waiting, I stared at her floral wallpaper, yellow roses with green stems, repeating pattern every 18 inches. The adhesive was starting to fail near the baseboards. I counted 247 individual roses visible from where I stood. The paramedics arrived within 8 minutes. They rushed in, started working on her, checking vitals, asking me questions about her medical history. I answered everything while my eyes traced the wallpaper pattern. "That's really lovely wallpaper," I said as they intubated her. "Is it original to the house? The pattern suggests late 1970s manufacturing." They ignored me. One paramedic checked her pulse while I noticed the roses were slightly faded near the window. "Sun damage probably," I continued, my voice flat. "But look how vibrant they are by the refrigerator. The UV protection on that window must be—" "Ma'am, please step back," the lead paramedic said. I moved toward the doorway, still analyzing. The wallpaper bubbled slightly behind the refrigerator. Not from age. The bubbling was too uniform, too recent. I stepped closer. "The wall is hot." They stopped. "What?" "Touch the wall. Behind your equipment bag. It's hot." The lead paramedic pressed his hand against it, then immediately pulled back and radioed for the fire department. Within minutes, they'd evacuated the building. Carbon monoxide leak and the gas pipes running through the walls. Mom hadn't collapsed from a stroke or heart attack. She was being poisoned. The heat had been building for weeks, causing pressure that made the wallpaper bubble. The fire chief said 10 more minutes and the leak would have ignited, taking out the entire apartment complex. 47 families living in connected units. Mom woke up 3 days later and hugged me for 20 minutes straight without saying a word.